Here we are in section 4.1 with exercises 7 through 9. Solve a system of equations by substitution. Now they're expecting and requiring this process where you can see some of these might be easier by elimination. But since it said by substitution, let's follow that example. First of all, we have to get y by itself in one of these equations. So let's take this one right here, subtract 5x, subtract 5x. We get 3y equals negative 5x plus 22. Oh, this is just like solving for y equals mx plus b. Divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. We get y equals negative 5 thirds x plus 22 thirds. Now we take this right here and we've got to stick it into the other equation right up there. So we actually have now 2x minus 3 times this guy right here, negative 5 thirds x plus 22 thirds. What happened to the y? We replaced the y with the thing that it's equal to. So this guy went right in there in that equation, equals 6. Now we have an equation that we can deal with. So we actually need to distribute, get rid of the parentheses, and we'll have 2x plus 5. Notice how when this negative 3 comes in here, it becomes a positive 15 thirds divided by 3x minus 22 equals 6. So this comes in and the 3's cancel, but it's a negative up there. So negative 66 thirds is negative 22. That becomes 7x minus 22 equals 6. Add 22, 7x equals 28. X equals 4. Right on, x equals 4. Now we got to stick it back in, and either one of those things, if we stick it in the top one, we now have 2 times 4. So that guy goes right in there for the x, minus 3y equals 6. So that's 8, subtract 8 from both sides, and we get negative 3y equals negative 2. Divide by 3, and we get y equals a 2 thirds. Double check that with the other one, just in case, or just for fun. If we stuck 4 in right here, we would have 5 times 4 plus 3y equals 22. Subtract 20 from both sides and we get 3y equals 2. Divide by 3 and we get y equals a 2 thirds. So yeah, our answer is 4 for x, 2 thirds for y, and that's the point that is on both lines. All right, let's try the next one. Here we've got to get y by itself. It looks like that's the y that's almost as close to being by itself as possible. So let's take and subtract 3x from both sides. We get y equals negative 3x minus 2. Now y is by itself. So we can take this guy and shove him in right there and write that equation. 5x minus 2 times y. So he's going to go right in that place, and we're rewriting that equation. Minus 2 times a negative 3x minus 2. Look at that. We didn't even have fractions. How nice is that? Distribute. Look, we have a nice equation we know how to deal with. 5x plus 6x plus 4 equals negative 29. That's 11x. Subtract 4 over there, and we get a negative 33. Then divide by 11 and we get x equals a negative 3. So now we take and take this negative 3 and stick it back up in there, like right there. We get 3 times a negative 3 plus y equals a negative 2. That's negative 9 plus y equals a negative 2. Add 9 and we get y equals 7. Let's double check that this actually works in the other equation as well. 5 times negative 3 is a negative 15. Minus 2 times 7 is 14. Negative 15 minus 14 is indeed a negative 29. So yeah, negative 3, 7 is the point that works in both of them. Excellent. All right, the next one. 4x plus 7y equals 2, and 3x minus y equals 14. This y looks as close to being by itself as possible. Let's get that one by itself to substitute in. Subtract 3x from both sides, and we get negative y equals negative 3x minus 14. Divide by a negative 1, and we get y equals 3x plus 14. Oops, that was a plus 14 up there, so this is 3x minus 14, right? That was a plus 14. Yeah, so when we times through by negative 1, it's a minus 14. Now we take that whole guy and stick him into the other equation. 4x plus 7y, but we know y is 3x minus 14 equals 2. So we took and rewrote the top equation, but we substituted what we know y is. All right, now we have a good equation. We can solve it. 4x plus 21x minus 98. Is that right? Yeah, equals 2. So that's 25x, add 98 over, equals 100. Divide by 25, and we get x equals a 4. All right, so if x equals 4, let's stick it in somewhere, maybe into this equation right here. We get 3 times 4 minus y. Well, let's do that with a different color so we can make sure we know what we're doing there. Stick this 4 in. Let's go right there. We get 3 times 4 minus y equals 14. That's 12 minus y equals 14. Subtract 12, we get negative y equals 2. Times by negative 1, y equals a negative 2. 4, negative 2. Now let's just check the other equation to make sure 4, negative 2 works. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 7 times a negative 2 is negative 14. 16 plus a negative 14 is indeed 2. So yes, that is our solution that works in both of those lines. Great.